What's up, everybody? This is Corey from My2Cents, and today we're going to go ahead and do a quick installation and review this IQ shield for the Samsung Galaxy S8 Plus. I want to compare this to a Spigen that I did on another phone. This package did come with two protectors, and it is a case-friendly protector. So we'll check to see how close it comes to covering the entire visible portion of the screen. Let's go ahead and rip this box open and take a look at what it comes with inside. This is a wet install protector, so we have our wet spray. It comes with a squeegee as well as a microfiber cloth. And then inside of our packet here, we have our instructions, so you can check out this video if you want to from IQ Shield. And it gives you a little bit of instructions on there as well. It also has a information packet that says really let it sit for a while before you use the device, preferably overnight. They want you to do it at night right before you go to bed, and then you can let it sit overnight. And then it does come with our two protectors on these translucent sheets here. Let's go ahead and get started on the device. The first thing I'm going to go ahead and do is clean the screen as much as possible. We're going to use the included microfiber cloth just to get as much of the dust, fingerprints, and gunk off of the device. We don't want to have any little residue pieces underneath it. As we put it on, that'll lead to bubbles under the screen. You can see that it's nice and shiny. Now they say that you can use their cleaning solution on your microfiber cloth, and that will help you use kind of like a wet cleaner. So if you have any stuck on gunk on there, you can use that as well. I like it just because it'll pick up any additional little pieces of dust or lint that might be on the screen still, since it is using a wet application. So now we're polished up to a mirror finish. The next step is to go ahead and spray down our clean hands. You want to make sure your hands are washed and clean and spray lots of fluid on them. And then we have our backing. They want you to spray the protector before you pull it off, and make sure your hands are nice and wet with the application fluid. That way you don't get any fingerprints. Pull it off nice and gentle so there's no ripping or tearing. Give it some generous sprays. I got a lot of criticism for not putting enough on my last video for IQ Shield, so we'll put in a little bit more. The goal is just to make sure it rolls around. If you have any big bubbles on there, sometimes that'll cause it to not want to move as you push it. You don't want to slide it too hard, create any ripple effects on it. And you can use our fingers to kind of just put it down, put out any big bubbles. They want you to move from the inside of the phone, the center, out to the edges. Now with the screen still wet, we're going to use our squeegee to squeegee out any additional fluid from the center towards the edges of the device. And get as much of the fluid out as possible. Try to get any bubbles out of the phone. That'll actually help the drying time of the device. The less liquid that's still under the protector, the better. Now the edges may not stick down at this point, and that is okay. As per the video, you may have to wait an additional 5 minutes to let the edges dry and adhere to the side of the screen. So we're just going to squeegee this as much as possible, get as many of those bubbles out, as much fluid out from underneath the screen also, but only squeegeeing while the film is still wet on top. You can use our fingers, so you can see that already this does not want to adhere to the edge. Let it sit for 5 minutes. Now we're going to use our squeegee again and push down and out, trying to get as much liquid out from underneath the screen as possible. And it still doesn't want to stick down for us. It still just lifts up, so it must still be too wet. So you got a bubble there, so we'll push that back out. Try again. This is 5 minutes later, so the protector is actually set for about 10 to 15 minutes after the initial application. And they do want to stick down a little bit more, but the edges still do, they just don't want to stay perfectly stuck down. You'll see it, I'll push it down, then it'll want to lift itself back up. Now even a little tiny bit of lift on these edges is bad news. you'll get dust and gunk underneath it, and that'll lead to the protector pulling up much faster than it should. This should be a complete seal all around the device. And see, it feels kind of like the edge has a little bit of a lip, and that's kind of causing some of the issues. You can use the palm technique to give you extra pressure on a wider area to help it try to stick down, which does work in some instances. I didn't see a huge improvement. So what we're going to do is we're going to let it set for even longer. We'll let it dry for about 20 minutes after the initial application, and we'll try again. We are making a little bit of progress. See, there's little tiny white dots on the edge, but eventually they just kind of pull back up into a larger lift off of the device. We'll just keep doing this over and over and see if we can't get it to stick down. This is their suggestions. If you do hold your hand on top of it for a few seconds and kind of firm pressure on it, that will help it stick. You can see we still have a lot of bubbles underneath the screen, which is fine. Those should dry overnight. Put a little bit of friction against it, and that also helps. But still, just can't get it to adhere itself right along the edges. It still wants to lift off. Alright, so we let it sit overnight, and we did not see a change in the edge wanting to lift. So we're going to do something slightly unconventional. We're going to use a hair dryer. This is not in their instructions. This is something you can do if you just can't get your protector to stick down. You're going to heat it up just for a few seconds with the hair dryer, and then use your finger to kind of push it down and re-adhere itself. Now this is, I don't know, this is kind of concerning for me when you get a protector like this, and the instructions that they provide you don't necessarily work. You have to use something out of the box. Now, this is something that I was told I should have done on my last protector that I did on an Edge phone. But my goal with these videos is really to just show you how to do it per the instructions of the manufacturer, not to go even further and do things that aren't said to you. I mean, if I was a normal consumer, this isn't something that I would normally do if I was just an average, I don't know, person buying this off of Amazon. But this does work. You can heat it up, get it nice and warm, and then if you have a part that just won't stick, get it nice and warm and then just put some pressure onto it for a few more seconds. Just hold it down. Here to the last edge. You can use your palm also. There's a part right here in the middle that doesn't want to stay down. Here towards the top, so we'll just hold it for a few seconds. There we go. So this is after it sat for a little bit. You can see there's a little bit of a warp in the protector down towards the home button. That's just because it was sitting on top of a phone in my pocket for a minute. I wanted to see if this is going to lift back up, and the edge stayed down quite nicely. This is a pretty nice protector. You can actually lift it and reapply it if you have dust underneath it, if it was still wet on the initial installation, so keep that in mind. It does come with two, so you can mess it up and still do it again. And it's not extremely expensive. I mean, there's got $50 glass protectors for these devices, and that's just honestly not worth your time. These film protectors will do just as good of a job. All the glass ones that I've seen have had lifting issues, or they're not actually adhered to the screen. They only have edge adherence, and so it kind of gives you a rainbow effect underneath. So this is a case-friendly protector, and it does fit nice in the Spigen case also. You can see there's a little bit of a gap up here at the top, and the protector itself doesn't wrap around the speaker at the top, the camera, or any of the sensors. Kind of does a half circle around them, and that's okay. I'm not really worried about getting scratches there. My main concern is just on the viewing portion of the screen. Now I'm comparing this to a screen protector that I put on a Samsung Galaxy S8, which was a Spigen screen protector. It was also case friendly. It was called their NeoFlex, and after 8 hours in a purse, that thing looked beat. So this one is a much nicer protector when it comes to kind of recovering from scratches. and dings and stuff like that. So I've got to say that that's quite nice. The spigot was actually easier to install. I didn't have to use a hairdryer to get the edges to stick down. It was also a wet protector. So if you want to check that video out, I'll throw that down in the description. I'll actually put it here on the end screen also. If you want to check out this protector, I'll throw that product link down in the description. You can check that out on Amazon. I would say this is one of the better protectors for the S7 Edge if you're willing to put in the effort to make it a good install. Anyways, thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one. Peace.